We are very nice. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the last night of Area Director and Division Director training. My name is Scott Brown. I am the current District Director here in District 11, and I am so thankful that you all decided to join us tonight. As you noticed, we are recording this evening, so if you do not want to have your image recorded, please feel free to turn off your camera. If you don't mind, please keep it on. I'd love to see faces instead of just names. We are going to record this and post this though. So what are we going to do tonight? So first of all, thank you all for joining us, and thank you all very much for agreeing to serve this year as District 11 area directors and or division directors. We are so thankful you're doing that. Wanting to go through some stuff with you tonight so you understand a little bit more about what the roles are, how they interact with the district at the district level, some resources that you have at your disposal. And then once, like we do in all of these, we want to open up the floor and any questions that you may have, anything that you're unclear about, anything that you've heard through the grapevine that you want to clarify, we'll open the floor for just whatever questions you might have or have ever thought about asking. We will answer all of them, Toastmasters related, non-Toastmasters related. It does not matter. We will answer everything. So first of all, area directors and division directors. So let's first kind of talk about kind of the flow a little bit of how the year rolls out and what to expect for the rest of the year. And more than that, kind of the training process that kind of happens, because I know there was a little bit of a miss when we talked at the meeting this past Saturday. So there's really kind of 4 different types of gatherings that we have throughout the course of the Toastmasters year for district leadership. We have council meetings, we have deck meetings, we have training meetings like TLIs and like this stuff, and then we have fun meetings. So those are really 4 different types of things that come together. So you kind of understand how they interrelate. Here's kind of what the 4 of them are. We just had the council meeting. So the council meeting is designed purely to help us be able to conduct district business. And what does that mean? Well, there's really 4 major things that the district has to do every single year. In the fall, we need to approve a district budget, so we have some funds available, and we also need to approve all of our appointments. So all those folks that weren't elected can be voted on by the council and they can take their roles over. That's exactly what we did this past Saturday. That's the council part for the fall. In the spring, when we get towards the last weekend in April, so I think it's April 30th, if I'm not mistaken, the last Saturday in April, we will have a business meeting, and it's the second meeting of the council for the year, and we do 2 huge things there as well. One, we elect officers for next year. That's kind of a big deal. And secondly, we also go through the district alignment for all of the clubs. What divisions and areas do all of your clubs fall into for the following year? There's also a couple of little things that we do here and there for district business when it comes to agendas and maybe a couple motions here and there. But those are the big things we do for council meetings. We keep that separated from everything else because generally those are kind of long meetings. They're very formal meetings. There's not a lot of interaction. There has to be questions asked in advance to be able to put them onto the docket, to be able to make motions about them. It's a very Robert's Rules of Order kind of process. It's not overly fun, but it is something that we have to do to get all the business stuff done. Those are the council meetings. Then we have DEC meetings. And DEC stands for the District Executive Council. And DEC meetings are held every couple of months. Our next one is in December. And DEC meetings are all of the area directors, all of the division directors, and everybody who is helping out at the district level. So that would also be the trio will be there, admin manager, PR manager, anybody that's doing anything district-wide. We all get together about 4 times a year, 4 or 5 times a year. And it's not necessarily to go and pass motions and do business, but it is all about what's happening within your worlds, within your divisions, within your areas, and more importantly, how can we help? And we've changed those over the past couple of years. This year is a little bit less formal than what we've done in the past, that we're really turning that agenda very much over to division directors and area directors, because we really want you to be able to talk about not really on a specific club level, like I've had these 3 clubs that have conducted all of their training and let's give them a big shout out, but more bigger scale celebrations and bigger scale needs. So we can say, look, I'm having trouble finding volunteers to be able to do district contests. Who can help? And by having everyone together, together at one time, we can solicit help from other people. We can solicit help then from our contacts that may not even be in the district to be able to help you out and do stuff. The deck meetings are all about how do we help you level up your performance? How do we help you level up your experience so that this is something fun for you and you're getting something out of it and you're just not pulling your hair out? Because before Lou's year, you wouldn't believe it, but Lou was a hippie with long hair down to his knees. It's crazy what happened to him in the year that he had. We try to make it as fun as possible, as light as possible, and as helpful as possible. That's what the whole deck meeting thing is for. Then we have trainings, and that's stuff like Toastmasters Leadership Institute. And that is all of the club officer training nights and area director, division director training nights, and all of those kind of formal trainings that go within the check marked boxes to did you train your folks. Those are somewhat formulated in how we do those trainings for kind of the stuff we have to cover. But then we take, in the past couple of years, last year, this year, we're taking that a little bit farther. We are also offering a bunch of educational sessions throughout the course of the year, and even not just at times during Fall Education Week and the Spring Conference Week, but at different times throughout the course of the year, you're going to see there are educational opportunities because we want to provide you with opportunities not just to become a better Toastmaster, a better area director, better division director. We want to help you become better at what you do outside of Toastmasters. Because I'm pretty sure that none of you did this because you said, I joined Toastmasters because I want to be a better Toastmaster. All of us joined a club in the first place to get better at something outside of work. And we're trying to learn something here so that we can fail in private, so we can succeed magnificently in public. And all those other educational opportunities are to give you an opportunity to develop something that you can use outside of Toastmasters. Are they all the same? No, there's going to be a whole different slate this year than what there was last year. But we also record those so that you will now have a repository or a library to be able to go back and say, I want to learn about this thing, and be able to reference some material so that you can take the next step in your careers, in your life, whatever it is that drew you in. We want to help you get a little bit better at that. And then the last one are all the fun stuff that we do. So those are things like contests. I think contests are a blast. So I put that into the fun category. The masked speaker, completely a fun activity, not a Toastmasters thing whatsoever. We're going to have ToastX again this year, which is like TED Talks. We're going to have something called Captivate Toastmasters this year, which is both TEDx and a combination of Ignite. So those two things put together into one evening. So we'll have 6 or 7 TED-like talks, which are called ToastX for us. And then we will have half a dozen or 8 Ignite-like talks. And those are the talks that you give when you have auto-advancing PowerPoint slides behind you. So you have 20 slides, 15 seconds per slide. No matter what, those slides are going to keep popping. And your goal is to tell a story or give a speech or describe something to us in exactly 5 minutes. 20 slides, 15 seconds a slide, 300 seconds, you get 5 minutes exactly to be able to do something. And it's something else to kind of challenge us. And it comes on the same line as Pacha-Kacha, Ignite, and Disrupt, all do the same thing. The goal for it is purely to help you step out of your comfort zone, to have an opportunity to bring people together, and more importantly, to learn and laugh at the same time. So those are kind of the 4 meetings that we have for the course of the year that you'll all be involved in. So what questions can I answer for you about how that works or how they roll up to each other or the separation or what to expect with all of them? I'm more than happy to answer any questions for you. What do you have?
Scott, I can ask one.
Go.
I think it's important when it comes to the deck meetings where we're planning things like speech contests, or in the past where we've planned officer training that was in person. I realize that there's Zoom now, but to plan for the schedule for those. I think one of the things we discovered last year was we had 3 division level speech contests that were all in the same Saturday morning. And it was difficult to get enough people to be at each one of those. So as division directors, the more planning you can do with your other division directors to plan those, and even areas within similar geographies, so that you can get the dignitaries or contest officials that you need
Cool.
to be able to be a part of that.
Well, I want you to come out and look at my.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Mark, you want to, Mark, you want to mute
He
yourself?
fell in love with the Bermuda grass. He's like, is that
Or is that
Bermuda
Lou?
grass?
Are
That
you,
Bermuda
or
stuff?
Christina, can you
Look at it.
mute
Not me.
yourself? Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that. Lou, that is a great segue because we're going to go from here and we are going to go into kind of the actual trainings for what we're going to go through. And one of them is the calendar. So thank you for providing us a wonderful segue for this. I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's do from beginning. From beginning, there we go. All right. Can everyone see area director, division director training? Fantastic. So this is kind of the second year in a row that we're not sticking with one particular theme. We're sticking really with kind of four words that define everything we're trying to do this year. We talked a little bit about this at the training on Saturday, or at the meeting on Saturday. Four things that really define this year for us. We want it to be fun. We want it to be meaningful. We want it to be educational. We want it to help you build a community. Now, this isn't fun, meaningful, educational community based upon a club level. This is member specific. The goal this year, we know that walking into the year this year, based upon the amount of clubs that we have, the amount of members we have no illusion that we're going to become a distinguished district this year. And that's okay. Our goal this year, 100% our goal this year, is to ensure that we are relevant at the member level so that members walk into clubs and they say, I would not be where I am today without my Toastmasters family, my friends that have become family. We want that connection to be built stronger between members in clubs, between members in different clubs. That's the connection we're going for this year. So everything that we do is based around the member experience this year. How do we help the members grow? How do we help the member gain value from what we're doing here at Toastmasters? There's a couple of different things we're going to go through tonight. We're going to talk through distinguished club programs, area club programs, division programs, success plans. We're also going to talk a little bit about some of the contests and where you can find information and some of that stuff. So first, let's talk about priorities for the year. It is member-based. It is 100% member-based for the year. Because of that, because we are 100% member-based for the year, the goal first and foremost for clubs is to know why their members are there. And this isn't about all those specific trainings that you do that are out there. This is really the individual relationship that members have with Toastmasters. Now, how many of you have ever seen, where am I here? I want this one, yes, no, sorry, that's not it. To stop share. PowerPoint slide. Nope, that is not it either. Sorry, hold on one second. I had it in the background and I've lost it. Oh my goodness. There we go. How many of you have seen the member interest survey? Does anybody come across this? Lou has, I see one name, I see Jeff shaking his head no. If you've never seen the member interest survey, this is something that I will send this out to everybody after we are done tonight. Or I can post it in the chat file. The member interest survey is all about what do you want to accomplish this year as a Toastmaster? What do you want to do in the next few months? Why did you come into Toastmasters? What is Toastmasters meaning for you? This is a wonderful tool for clubs to be able to use to help them gauge what individuals want to get out of Toastmasters. And it's done on a couple of different levels. The first level is for somebody new joining as Toastmasters. Why did they walk in off the street and why are they interested in joining a club? What drew them into us? What are the things that are most important? Things like critical thinking and meeting management and listening and leadership, communication, whatever it is. Why did they come into Toastmasters? What do they want to get out of it? Because if we can't meet the needs of why somebody came in, they're not going to stay. They're not going to see the value in spending their time once a week with us and working on projects outside of meetings, being able to grow if they don't see how it's going to help them as an individual. The second thing it does is for those that have been around for a little while, there's a bunch of different stuff that can help them expand what they're trying to do and maybe give them some opportunities to stretch themselves out of their comfort zone. So judging the speech contest, we just talked about contests. That's a great way to be able to figure out who within your club might be interested in helping out with that stuff, or competing in contests, or visiting other clubs, which would be great for the Boost program, or helping with some of the specialty programs that are out there. There are a ton of things that will really help you understand what they're looking to do, what somebody is looking to do. On page 2, it does a great job of kind of a very good snapshot of what do they think about the club experience. Are they really happy with what they're getting? Are they really happy with where they're trying to go with this? It's a very nice, easy snapshot to be able to gain so that you know if you're meeting your members' needs. This is kind of the first touch point that we're looking for clubs to have. So from area director, division director standpoint, really easy, especially as you're doing area visits, to explain this process, to explain the tool and why it's important as we are trying to build relationships with members and trying to build relationships between members and Toastmasters. So what questions do you have about why we think this is important? What questions do you have about how to use this, where it's best used, or any of those other things? What can we answer for you? Because I know this is new probably for a bunch of you.
I'm going to jump in, Scott.
Sure, Mark.
I had that a half an hour ago. That's a neat looking tool. I just came from a club meeting where we have a very unusual new guest, been there 3 times. And it is challenging for our club to identify exactly what he wants. This would have been a help.
Very good. Well, I'll make sure we get this out to you tonight so that going forward, you'll have that and might be able to help you with that. What other questions can I answer for you about this? Linda.
So could you just give us maybe 3 or 4 talking points, like how to advertise it or how to sell it to a club, or I don't know. I mean, I see the value of it, but could you give me some words?
Absolutely. Why did you join Toastmasters? What do you want to get from Toastmasters? 1 year from now, how do you want to be different as an individual or as a professional? What can we do to help that process? I think probably with those 4, you probably cover most of it. Does that help?
Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Other questions about it? So I'm going to throw one other quick little curveball to you. This isn't something that we tend to do at Toastmasters all that often, but I believe very strongly in this. All of you have decided that you're willing to give up the better part of a year in serving others, in helping the district, in helping do your division, your area, and helping other Toastmasters grow. I don't want any of you to walk away at the end of the year with the thought in your mind, well, that's done. Thank goodness that's over. I want you all to walk away with the thought in the mind, thank goodness I did that. I learned something this year. I am going to, I'll get you in 1 second. I see you with your hand raised. I want all of you to, if you could please, fill out something like that. It doesn't have to be that formal. I want you to send to me, I had asked folks when we very first met back in July, after when we were first, or June, when we were first starting the year this year, what do you want to get out of Toastmasters this year? What is it that you want to learn this year? How do you want to be different in a year? And I ask that because we are in a unique position that we can provide you with opportunities to do stuff that you might not have an opportunity to do otherwise. We will give you a platform, we will give you a stage, and we will give you the opportunities to do whatever it is that you want to do here, so that when you take what you learned here out into the real world, you're 1 step ahead of where you would be if you hadn't done this year. I don't want anybody to walk away this year with the thought of that was a wasted year. I want you to all walk away with the thought of thank goodness I did that this year. Is that fair? Is that something you can all commit to doing, to send to me in the next week? And it doesn't matter if you've been around if this is your first time serving, or Lou, if this is your 43rd time serving. I think all of you can benefit from investing kind of intentionally in what it is you want to learn. And we will make sure that we give you that opportunity to do so. So I thank you for that. Adele, I see you with your hand raised. What ask you, my friend?
Yeah, hi, Scott. This member survey, I love it. Now, does it stay with the club, or do you want the result of it to be shared to the district?
No, we don't need this at all. This is about the relationship between the member and the member and the member and their club. This is something for clubs to use, for club leadership teams to use, for buddies and mentors to use. This isn't, we don't need to know this at all. If you find somebody in a club that's like, hey, I want to help with a speech contest, then that would be great to be able to share with area directors and division directors, because y'all are going to have to do contests this year. So that information is great to share, but the actual forms itself and the bulk of it, keep it with the clubs at the level where members live, because it's all about the member.
Okay, got it. It's a great tool. Love
Cool.
it.
Very good. Thanks, Adele.
Thanks.
All right. So questions on why that's important, why we're kind of going down that path, why we're kind of stressing that this year. Any thoughts of it? We're good to move on? I see a bunch of heads nodding, so we're going to move on. All right. Communication and resources. So Lou shared in chat kind of all the emails that you can get for TI to be able to get there. I think there's one other big thing out there that we talked briefly about over the weekend, but I think is kind of one of those important things to be able to know and to be able to see kind of where it is. We have a new website. We have a brand spanking new website. And I know on my screen right now, it is relatively large and I don't see something to be able to shrink it, but the website lives toastmastersd11.org, toastmastersd11.org. That is a great website to put into your favorites. But there are a couple of big things on here that I think are really important. And Lou, this is where you started with that great transition to be able to talk about it. We have a calendar button up here. Anything that you have going on in the district, if you send to wherever, it's loading very slowly, probably because I have a bunch of stuff open. Anything you have going on, we can put onto the calendar. So the goal this year is kind of exactly what Lou said. When we have division contests in March and April, we would hope that they don't all come at 10 o'clock in the morning on the same Saturday, because we're probably pulling from a lot of the same people to be able to help with some of that stuff. The same with area contests. We don't want to have 15 area contests on the same day. We're going to run out of folks to be able to help with. So when you are starting to look at scheduling your area and division contest, I urge you, go to the month that you're holding the contest in, go to the weekend you're holding the contest in, and make sure that you're not overlapping with somebody so that we can spread these out a little bit better this year. We do have some resources that are more than willing to help us with contests that are outside of our district as well. A bunch of us, or I don't say a bunch, but a few of us either come from different districts, or if you're like Mark Walton, you have visited 14,327 clubs in the last year, or 110, somewhere around there. But we've met a lot of people. We know people outside that are more than willing to help us do stuff. So if you know that you're going to do something and you need help, this is a great place to look to make sure you're not overlapping. And then the trio is a really good place to start that conversation. Who can help? Who do you know outside of the district that can help? Because there's a bunch of folks that are in the district that are tied into other districts. We also have members that are up in Division A. So Stewart family, you all know that there are members up there that are part of 30 and they're a part of 62 that are tied into those districts as well. We can absolutely ask people to help, and we can reciprocate by giving help back. It's one of the great things with Toastmasters, so we don't get into that same situation last year. I urge you, please go through all of just click through a bunch of the sites up here. You can see any events, you can see that there are different links for everything, resources. The video library has been transitioned over, so you know where to find that now. Things that are happening, homepage, anything that's going on within our district. Play around in here just like you would do with any new website you came across. You can probably find all of the information that you need. If you don't find it, let myself know, let Patty know, let one of the marks know. I say one of the marks because we weren't smart and we elected people with the same name. So we're not going Mark 1 and Mark 2. We're just pluralizing it. So Mark and Mark are more than willing to help us with that also. We can pass it on to Patty. Patty's going to be the one to manage the page. When we had everybody putting their own stuff into the page, it became kind of a mess. So we're trying to condense that, and Patty and her team are going to be the ones that are going to be managing all the information on the page. So if you send your stuff to Patty, she will be able to get that together so that you can, so that we can make sure we don't overlap a lot of stuff this year and when things are happening. So does that all make sense? Very good. Contest season. We are not starting contests until January. Club contests start in January and they end the second week of February. And then we go from the middle of February to the middle of March for area contests, the middle of March to the middle of April for division contests. And then our finals this year are in May. They're in the middle of May. We've pushed the contest back to May. It gives all of the contestants a little bit more time to prepare. Everybody that won at division, they now get at least a month to be able to help hone that message a little bit better. And our goal is maybe we can get somebody to get past that next video round and get into the finals this year. So we're going to make it a little bit easier for everybody and reduce that timing a little bit. So the middle of the month is when we change. So middle of February, middle of March, middle of April, we go from club to area, area to division, and then on to district. Questions about that? Does that all make sense? Are we kind of clear with that? We good there?
Scott, can you repeat which contests again? I know we mentioned it
Sure.
at the
Two
district
contests,
council.
humorous contest and international. Humorous and international. They're the only two we're doing this year. There is no evaluation contest this year. There is no official table topics contest this year. We're only going to the finals for humorous and international. Humorous doesn't go past the district. So whoever wins the district humorous, that's all the farther they go. But international, their videos do get submitted for the video version of the semifinals or the quarterfinals that are done for all of the district winners. But humorous and international this year. And so find your funny. We want you to find your funny.
All district level contests are virtual, correct?
Everything, yes, everything is
okay.
Right now, everything is virtual. So the reason why I touched on this briefly on Saturday, but I think it's probably good to be able to talk about this a little bit further. We have two concerns about having in-person contests this year. One of them is COVID is not going away like we were told that it would. If anything, it's getting a little bit worse. I've lost now 9 friends of mine from Toastmasters in the last year to COVID. Just Toastmasters friends that I've lost to COVID. We lost somebody else that a lot of us knew last night. Somebody else passed away from COVID that we all know, Johnny Campbell. So it's raging. It's still there. And we don't really feel comfortable bringing everyone together into a small enclosed space and risking people's health. That's the number one thing. The second part is, even if we do find that there are some folks that are willing to come, are there enough that are willing to come that it's financially responsible for us to put people together and not waste all of the money of renting up a hotel, of catering all the food, of doing all those expensive things that you do with a whole conference? We'd rather spend that money with marketing, with investing in club growth, with educational stuff, and not spend so much on the conferences and spend more on how do we help make Toastmasters more relevant and help kind of get us back a little bit more healthy for the year. If for some reason everything changes and for whatever reason we get to spring and COVID miraculously disappears, besides all of us having our own parties, because we'd be so excited about that, we did keep a little bit of a reserve in there that if we decide to have the contest in person, we can do that. So it's possible we may end up just having a live contest, just like you would have a live division final possibly. If you want to do that, you can do that. But at this point, plan on everything being online for the finals. And it's up to you to however you want to hold your club contest, your area contest, your division contest. You can do them hybrid. You can do them in person. You can do them online. We are not telling you have to do any one of them, but I would urge you, think about the safety of your members first. Can you do it safely? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And really think about that once we get towards the first of the year. And we can talk about that more once we get towards the holiday season and beginning of January to where we really want to go with that. But there is that option that's out there. So questions about the contest, anything we can answer for you about that?
Yes, Scott, Adele here.
Yes, Adele.
Can we use the district's Zoom account
Yep.
for the contest?
Yes.
If so, who
100%.
do we contact?
Candace has all the credentials.
Okay. I guess we need to reserve it now.
Yeah, we have, we paid for a new Zoom account for us. Because there is a discount that Zoom is providing to not-for-profits, which is what we are, we were able to save a big chunk of money on our Zoom accounts for the year. So the ones that we used last year are not working anymore. We turned those off, we let those expire and open a new one that we only pay roughly 30% of what we would have paid last year.
Yay.
Yay,
That's
I know. We're
good.
trying to be
Good
financially
use of
responsible with it.
resources.
Yes, and TI finally said, go ahead and do it. They gave us their blessing to be able to do that now, and they did not do that last year. We spent a year last year of them saying, when are you going to cancel it? When are you going to cancel it? And we just ignored them. And our stubbornness paid off because they said, go ahead. So yes, you can absolutely use the district Zoom account. If we see that we need to get a second one, we will absolutely do that because we saved enough money on the first one. We can absolutely do that with the second one. But we have the max accounts. We can always get one of the cheaper ones also if we know we're just going to do it for contests. Just let us know what y'all need, and we will make sure that happens for you.
All right, thank you. Another question. Oh, sorry, Linda.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, another question. As far as the not trophy, but the awards, club level club provides it, right?
Correct.
Area and above, the district would provide.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
All
Yes,
right,
that is
thank
correct.
you. Thank you,
And
Linda.
we're going to try to do something different this year with getting trophies to people. I know from a personal standpoint last year, I mailed every trophy from my house last year. That was ridiculous. So we're going to try to do something different to get them to people a little bit easier this year. We don't know what that is this year. We budgeted money for mailing them, but I would much rather be able to deliver them and have them get to people in person, because I think it's a little bit more fun when somebody hands you a trophy and says, congratulations, you won this, good job, as opposed to getting one in the mail and you're like, oh, it's about time. So we'll figure that out once we get closer to the spring though. Linda.
Does district supply a Zoom master or somebody?
I wouldn't say that we
that.
supply a Zoom master. We have a couple of folks that can
Okay.
help you with that. If you ask around your area and division, there are a bunch of folks that have done this now for a couple of years that are pretty good at doing Zoom out there. But we do have a list also of some of whom those folks are, and we can help you with that. We have probably 6 folks that we can rely on to do Zoom stuff that we don't necessarily provide them to you, but with having enough folks available, there's somebody out there to be able to help you.
Thank you.
So that's a yes, but no, sorry. What else?
Hey, Scott, me again.
Yes, Adele.
Suggestion for the trophies,
Yeah.
because you said instead of you mailing it out to
Mhm.
individual clubs, maybe can you get a budget for each area? And then the area directors can purchase the awards, and that they would have it to, oh no, but it's virtual. Never mind. I wasn't paying attention to you, and then I was like, it's virtual. Okay. Never
If Star
mind.
Trek was real, we could put them into the little transformer thing and have them, pixelate away and reappear somewhere.
Yeah,
But that's not happening. So the goal, I would like to be able to figure out a way to be able to deliver them. There was roughly half of the areas last year didn't have contests. So I have almost half the trophies left over from last year that we're just going to get rebadged for this year. So we're saving some money on trophies this year. And yes, we did budget money for mailing them. We just have to figure out how to best do that. So again, it's about the relationship and about the experience, not just about the ease and the efficiency of getting the people. We want it to be an experience too. Thank you, Adele. What else? Anything else out there for contests and trophies and stuff? All right. Let's see, what is next? Talked about contests, very good. Member interest survey, we've talked about. Distinguished club programs. So there are programs out there for distinguished clubs, and there are going to be some clubs that still are able to maintain a distinguished club ranking this year. Even though we as a district are probably not looking that we're in the position to be able to do the district level, there are going to be certainly some clubs that do that. So how does a club become distinguished? The first part is membership. You need to either have 20 members or a net growth of 5 members based upon your membership level established on July 1st, or who all has paid as of July 1st. So what that means is you might add 15 members throughout the year, but if you lost 16 members throughout the course of the year, you didn't have at least 5 new members in a net gain, net growth. If you started with your base of 9 members and you ended up the year with a base of 14 members, you got your 5. So congratulations. We don't have a ton of clubs that have 20 members or more out there, but we do have the opportunity to be able to add the 5. And here's the one thing that I would say that I think is really important about that. And Mark Walton and I have talked about this a little bit in the past couple of weeks, but I think this is a huge part. We have a lot of clubs out there that are exceptionally struggling right now, especially when it comes to corporate clubs. Corporate clubs are having a very hard time because there are a lot of businesses out there that said, we want to stay in business. We're going to not pay for Toastmasters so that we don't have to, we're as one of our austerity measures to make sure we stay relevant and stay in business. That makes complete sense. But because of that, there are some members out there that were in corporate clubs that still kind of like Toastmasters, but without the company paying for it, that club isn't in existence anymore. We can recruit members from those struggling clubs that still want to be part of Toastmasters and just help them transition to a new club. So just because their club goes away doesn't mean all the members need to go away too. As area directors and division directors, help those members find new homes. We're basically going to take them and try to rehome them into a different club. And it's easier said than done because you have folks that have relationships, you have folks that have logistical issues, all of those sorts of things. But if you know when your clubs meet, you can help some of those members that are out there that are in clubs that are closing or are on the brink of closing, find new homes so we don't lose all of our members. If we can maintain the ones that are still tied into Toastmasters and just help them find a new home, that's the best case scenario. This is the year that if we're going to take clubs off the book, this is without a doubt the best year to rid our books of all the dead clubs, all the closed clubs that we're still carrying on books for multiple years because we wanted to still try to be distinguished. We're not going to be distinguished. We want to clean everything up this year. And if it's a club that is either closed or should be closed, just help those members find a new home. It's okay that we don't need to have as many clubs. The goal is to have more members. And if you can increase the number of members that are out there, that makes us healthier. Let's think about your own club experiences. How many of you love going to a club meeting with 4 people all the time? And I see a couple of chuckles. How many of you have been to club meetings with 4 people on a regular basis? Everybody has, right? Like it's not a judgment that that's a bad club. That's the reality of where we are. But what if instead of that one club with 4, what if one of those clubs closed and you now had a club of 8? It's a better experience for everybody there. When somebody comes to visit, is it a better experience if they visit a club that has 8 people that are engaged or 4 people that are doing 3 roles each? They kind of get a better experience when there's more people there. So if you can help those members transition, it really helps. In the meantime, before you figure out who those clubs are that are transitioning, how many of you have clubs that meet at a time when another club meets somewhere in Toastmasters? We should all raise our hands because I don't think that any club meets at a time that is so unique that nobody else in all of Toastmasters meets at that time. If you meet on a Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, I guarantee there's another time out there that Eastern time, 9 o'clock, there's some club meeting out there. Like Jimmy Buffett said, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So kind of the same thing. If you have a club that's struggling with membership, partner them with another club that's struggling with membership. Put 2 or 3 clubs together. And if you have a club that can meet multiple clubs together and have meetings that are 12 people, all of a sudden you start to get some momentum back. And then they can separate back out at the time that you start to have more people join based upon proximity, based upon logistics, all those sorts of things, who people are more connected to emotionally, that's fine. But if you can bring people together into larger groups to start with, folks that visit are more likely to be engaged by a group that has more engaged members than what they are if you have 4 burned out members. They're the only ones that are there. So find those clubs to meet at the same time, bring them together, offer to bring them together onto one Zoom call, introduce them to each other, set up a call to say, I want y'all to meet. I don't think everybody knows each other. I know when I came to Fort Wayne, one of the things that I was incredibly shocked by were the amount of 20-year Toastmasters that never met other 20-year Toastmasters. Fort Wayne's not that big of a city. Like if you've been around in Toastmasters for 20 years, you should know everybody else has been around for 20 years. And they didn't, because we stayed within our clubs. We stayed within this one narrow experience. Broaden that, bring people together. Again, member experience. That's the whole goal of the year. How do we do things that are unique and different to increase that experience? So I know this is different. Questions about that? Thoughts about that? Think that's a positive? Think you can do that? Think it's something that might work? Willing to give it a shot? Very good. I see some head nods. We're going to try to make Mark Walton's life just a little bit easier also. That if at an area and division director level, we can help manage that because we know the people that are there. It makes his life a little bit easier than having to find all of them individually. You know your friends that are out there. Bring them together. We are Toastmasters because of the relationships we have. It's not because we are so tied into the organization. We all do this because we love the people we are around. That's kind of the main case. Let's increase that number. Fair enough. Ready to move on? Very good. All right. Oops. All right. So that's membership. Educational goals. The educational goals: 4 members complete a level 1, 2 members a level 2, 2 more at a level 2, 2 members complete a level 3, 1 of 4, and 1 of 5. That is where you can earn your educational points for the Distinguished Club program. This is one of the easiest things to be able to help people work their way through, especially 4 members completing a level 1. If you have clubs that haven't really been meeting and haven't really been working on pathways, it's very easy to get people to do 4 level 1s, 2 level 2s. Think about how many speeches that is total. That's only 7 speeches. 7 speeches, 8 speeches, because when does 2? That's 8 total projects, 8 total speeches. In a year, if you have a club that only has 7 members or 9 members or 10 members, they should all be able to speak enough that they can work their way through this. But here's one thing I think is really important about pathways that we don't talk about nearly enough. When was the last time you met the Pathways police? Have you ever had somebody from Toastmasters call you or show up at your house and say, you're not doing pathways right. You're not going to get credit for that. Has that ever happened to anybody? If so, it's creepy. It's not a thing. That wasn't the Pathways police. That was a stalker. That's different. There is no Pathways police. There is nobody out there that is monitoring how a member finds value in the educational program. I am willing to bet that between me, Linda, Mark, Becky, Venky, Alberto, Christy, Shuey, Christina, Greg, Lou, and Jeff, all of us join Toastmasters for a different reason and are trying to get something different out of Toastmasters. That means that all of us have the ability to use pathways in a different way. If the project that you're working on doesn't work for you exactly the way that it's written, those are suggestions. They are pathway. There's no Pathways police. That is a suggestion. Feel free, adopt the project so that it fits whatever the member needs. Remember that information form, what the member needed? Allow pathways to fit the person. Don't try to have the person fit pathways. That's the wrong way. No matter what the project is, there is a way to make it work for somebody. One of the biggest questions I hear is, well, why do I have to keep doing icebreakers every time I start a new path? And I give you this story. How many of you have ever met a new group of people? How many of you have ever had to walk in and start a new job? Has anybody ever gone to a networking group? Anybody ever meet your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents? Anybody ever get invited to Thanksgiving at a relative's house for the first time in a new relationship? Anybody want that to happen? Those are all opportunities to do an icebreaker in real life. So every time you do an icebreaker, practice it for a new group. Don't just introduce yourself again to Toastmasters. We know you. When you're giving your introduction, tell them, today I'm giving my second icebreaker, but I'm getting ready to start a new job and I want to introduce myself to my new employer. Here's how I want to do that. And then you'll get an evaluation based upon that criteria. How great is it to be able to walk into a brand new place of employment or sit at your desk wearing shorts at a brand new place of employment because you're only dressed from the waist up, and be able to practice how you're going to introduce yourself to your boss, to your team, to your coworkers, to new customers. Let it fit your life. The same thing for that research and education project. If you're out there, you're looking for a new job, you're probably researching employers. It's a great opportunity to practice your interviewing skills based upon what you're looking to do within that new job, that new career, whatever it is. Allow pathways to fit the person. Don't try to fit the person into the path. The path should fit the person. The person doesn't have to fit the path. So questions about that. I know it's a little bit different, but we don't talk about that enough. What thoughts or questions do you have about that? None? Mark?
I'm going to jump in and say, I consider myself to be a master of cramming any speech into a Pathways project. If I've got the speech, I'll find a Pathways project and I'll just cram that baby in there. And you know what I need to make it count? Nothing. Complacent VPE or president, and that's always the case. It works fine, folks.
You don't
Just
need
like
a
Scott
complacent
said.
VPE. All you need is a VPE willing to give you credit for a project you've done.
Yeah.
That's it. So with that, does it make more sense to how you can get the educational part of Distinguished Club program and get those points? Does that make a little bit more sense to how that works for everybody and how it can fit into what people are trying to do with their lives? So it's not about Toastmasters, but it's about them. A little bit better way to talk about it, maybe. Fantastic. I love that. All right. So once you move past the education goals and the rest of the DCP goals, 4 new members and 4 more new members. If you are bringing clubs together and you are helping a closing club, helping those members get new homes, great way to find new members because they're joining a new club or they're transitioning their membership over. It's a great way to be able to do that. Minimum of 4 club officers trained for each of the 2 sessions, and one club membership and 1 officer list submitted on time. That's all you really have to do. So it's really just telling Toastmasters who we are, who's in the club, and then getting some folks to do some speeches. That's really the basis for the Distinguished Club program. Does that all make sense to how that works for the Distinguished Club program? Now, how many of you know where you can find where that information sits that all of you have access to? How many of you know where the dashboard is? How many of you know there is a dashboard? So half. And the folks that don't have their hands up, I bet you guys are all brand new and you're like, I don't even know what the word dashboard means. So within Toastmasters, we have over interest survey. We will go here. Let's go to that. Let's go to Toastmasters. So you go to Toastmasters. And at Toastmasters, you log in. Hopefully, remember to save your credentials on your computer. It makes logging in so much easier. So you don't have to always remember what you did. Save your credentials, just makes it vastly easier to be able to log in. Once you log in, see this little bar right here where it says Leadership Central? See where I'm highlighting up here? Gray, red, gray, red. Leadership Central. Follow me where I am here. When you drop this down, distinguished performance reports, the DCP reports, distinguished performance reports. If you click on that, you can pick whatever district you want to look at. We probably want to look at District 11 because that's who we are. If you look at District 11, and all of you have access to this, it shows you where we are for all of for everybody that's in here. You scroll down a little bit, it's going to list all of the divisions and all of the areas and all of the clubs, and it gives you all of the information for all of them. So whenever you're looking at how many members does a club have, what can I do to support them, where are their needs, all of those things, they all come through here. So learn to go to the dashboard once in a while, and it will really show you that information. Now, to look at a club's individual DCP goals, and I'm going to call myself out because I'm going to pick a club that I am in that I know has almost nothing. Summit City, we are one of those struggling clubs with 4 members right now. This is where all of your DCP stuff is charted. So you can see level 1 awards, level 2 awards, 2 more level 2 awards, a level 3, a level 4, a level 5, and 1 more. You have all of your educational points here. Then you have your membership, your 4 members, your 4 more new members, your officers trained, and your renewal list, and all this information. If you just click on the club, so again, here's how I got there. It's very easy. I went to District 11. I scrolled down and found whatever division the club is in that I want to look at. So if you're in Division B, which would be Don Thurber, but it's also where I am. So take a look at whatever club you want to go to. So let's say Smoky Montgomery is another club that I am in. And like right now we have 11 members, so we have enough members. Then if I scroll down, it'll show all of our educational awards. It'll show all of our stuff that we've done. And it shows how many points we have for the year. This is where you can track by club. You can look by club how your clubs are doing so that you have a better idea of how to help them along the way. So does that make sense? So where to find this? Questions about where to find the report, how to access a club on there, any of that information.
How do you see the members?
For the individual member, there's a membership list that you can look up, and you do that a little bit differently. The individual members aren't on the report. That's kind of a snapshot of the club. To look at the individual members, so if you go back to yourself at Toastmasters, I'm going to go back a couple screens here. If you go to Leadership Central and District Central, because you're district officers, in District Central, I have a lot more reports than what you all do, but in here, there's going to be a tab that says Reports. And within Reports, when you click on that, your drop down, it will give you your district membership report. So you can see who's in what club. It breaks it down by club for you. You're not going to have all this other stuff that I have on mine because I have access to everybody in the district. All that you're going to have here, I think, is just the club officer report and the district membership report. You're not going to have other stuff on here. You're also not going to have, close. You're also not going to have all this other stuff that's in here. You may have the success plan tab. I'm not positive if I remember if I had that as an area or not. But you will have just a couple of reports in here. This is where you find that. So reports and the member report, and it'll show your members within your area. You only have access to the members within your individual area, or if you're a division director, members within your individual division. So does that help? You're good, Linda?
Yeah, Scott, that's the same District Central where you would go to submit your area director report, club visit reports.
Correct.
As well.
Yep, we're gonna talk about that here in a couple seconds too.
Scott,
yes.
Another request.
Yeah.
Can you show, let's say a area director or division director wanted to see whether a club had completed its dues renewal for this round a way to check that? Can you
Yeah.
demonstrate?
If you go back to here, I am where am I a club officer? All right, I'm going to go to an individual club. Well, actually, I want to do it for where you are. All right, so we go to Leadership Central, we go to District Central, and there is a Leadership Perspective Clubs, District Awards, District Officer Training, Distinguished Performance Reports, Pathways Adoptions.
You should be able to go, Scott, to the additional reports. So if you go over to the where you're at Leadership Central and you do the drop down for, it's on the Distinguished Performance Report, which is also within. But if you
look, were you talking about the individual? You want to see the individual?
Yeah, the additional report. So if you go on the left-hand tab, additional reports, and then you go to District 11. And then District Reports. Then you can go to, say, October dues renewals.
Renewal status.
And then you can sort if you click on the column header.
So I'll sort by division. How about that?
And you can sort and then reverse sort as well.
You can get an idea of where they are here, because you can see how this is really good to be able to see when clubs haven't had any of the renewals yet. It's a really good place to be able to see kind of the clubs that are going away yet. So there's a difference between low and ineligible. Low means that the club didn't have 8 members for 1 term. Ineligible means they didn't have 8 members for 2 terms. In order to get reinstated, if you haven't met for your 8 members for 1 term, it costs the club either $100 or to get to 8 members. And if you can get up to 8 members and it's less than $100, go for it. If it's 2 terms, then you have to pay a $200 reinstatement fee and be up to 8 members. So it'll show you kind of on here where those are, and you can see that we have a lot of clubs everywhere that are low because they haven't. We understand COVID. We understand how all that happened. So, is that what you're looking for, Lou?
Yeah, the report, when it says that the dues have been met, it's that the minimum of 8 members for the dues renewal have been completed.
Correct.
In this case, the low means that you have not quite gotten your 8, but you've gotten a few in. I think in order to be considered eligible, you have to have 3 carryover members from the last dues period to this dues period. So if it's ineligible, either you've only submitted a couple or you've submitted maybe a new membership, but you haven't submitted at least 3 from the last dues period. That's my understanding.
As far as I know, you don't have to carry 3 over anymore. As long as you have 3, they don't have to be the same 3. As long as you have 3.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be the same people because things happen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's close that. Close that. And let's close this one. All right. I want to go stop share. All right. So questions about where to find membership information, about kind of the dashboard, how to use some of that stuff. We will do another training that is purely about kind of how to navigate through the dashboard. We'll spend an hour on how to just to get through the dashboard because there's a lot of stuff that's out there. But that should give you a good starter so that you can get through there and figure out kind of where some of that stuff is. We good with that? All right. So then how does this stuff roll up? So then for a distinguished club, you get 5 out of 10, you're distinguished, 7 out of 10, select distinguished, 9 out of 10, presence distinguished. Then areas can also become distinguished. No net club loss means that if you started the year within your area and you had 4 clubs in an area, and at the end of the year, you have 4 clubs, even if they're not the same clubs, you had no net club loss. So that's very good. If you have 2 clubs that closed and you open 2 new clubs, no net club loss, you qualify. The base is established again on July 1st. Clubs are considered paid when they submit an April dues renewal. So it's not just the one term, you have to be up in April. And then paid clubs are the ones that count from at the end of the year. So the goal is really to be a distinguished area, have enough members in each club, and have the same amount of clubs that you ended with as what you started with. You also have to submit area director reports. And we're going to get into that in one moment. So the first fall term reports are due at the end of November. So fall term reports are due at the end of November. And this is what the area director reports used to look like. Again, this is what they used to look like. Now, I don't have access to the new area director reports. I can see them once they're completed, but I don't have access to get in there to actually enter them. So here is one of the great things that Toastmasters has finally done. If you were an area director at one point, say 2 years ago, and you were completing area director reports, the time that it's spent to actually complete an area director report was roughly 3 times the amount of time it took to actually do the club visit in the first place. It took a minimum of 2 to 2.5 hours usually to put everything in there in the area director report. It was cumbersome. The site crashed all the time. It was one of the biggest sticking points that they had. So this year they went to a brand new format that is web-based instead of being kind of PDF-based or kind of old computer style based. Everyone that I've talked to loves the new reports. I have not heard any area director say, I don't like the new ones. Everybody loves them. But here's the thing. They're not exactly the same. And I can't sit here and go through them with you because I don't have access to the new ones to be able to walk through them with you. So what does that mean? As an area director, I urge you, go into your area report tab, click on a club. Click on a club in which you are a member and tell the rest of the officers in your club, I'm going to mess with this to figure out how it works. Because one of the first things you do is to schedule a meeting with the club, which then unlocks some of the other stuff that's in the report. If you do that with a random club, all of a sudden they think you're coming to visit. But if you do it in your own club, they know that you're just practicing and that you're just going to see what it is. Visit your club first. Because if ever there was a time to be able to kind of work your way through one of these newer reports and figure out how they work and how you can do them online and in real time, do your own club first. They're going to be very forgiving and they're probably going to help you out along the way. There's some really good information in there. The one thing that I want to tell you about club visits, and this is the most important part, why you're doing club visits has nothing to do with the report. Do not think that the reason you're doing them is because you need to fill out a report. The reason you're doing club visits is to help the members be engaged to the club and to the other members. How do you help the club? That is the most important part of every area visit. It is not about the report itself. It is about how do you build the relationship between members and the club. That is the part that's most important. How do you build the relationship? Every club is different. Every club needs something different. Every club succeeding at something different, and every club is failing at something different, except membership. We are all messed up with membership. But everyone needs something different, and how we can help them work through that. Some need to be connected with other clubs. Some need some PR help. Some need some structural help, some operational help. There's a lot of things that clubs need. How do you help give them the resources? How do you help them find what they need? If you're an area director, do not think that it is your responsibility to fix every club that's out there. Your goal is to be able to figure out what they need and then to be able to reach out and let everybody else help you help them. The goal is to give the club the resources they need to be successful. Sometimes you have those resources, sometimes you don't. Reach out. Our goal this year, once again, is about the member experience. That means that at the club level, how do we help the members enjoy Toastmasters, and Toastmasters becomes an integral part of their life. That's why we're doing area director reports. So what do you say about that? What are your thoughts on that? Because again, that's a little bit different than what we said before, than what we've ever kind of talked about this in the past. Thoughts, questions, comments? Does all make sense? Do you understand kind of are you starting to feel a theme, that the whole theme this year is how do we help the member? Very good. All right, I gotta see a couple thumbs up. We are almost done here. I'm in area director report. So distinguished clubs equal to 50, at least 50% of the area's club base. Distinguished clubs equal to at least 50% of the club base plus one for select distinguished, and net growth of one club for presence distinguished. I do not anticipate us having a lot of areas that are going to be distinguished this year. But that doesn't mean we're not going to recognize some people for what they're doing to help clubs grow. We are going to recognize individuals at the spring conference based upon how you've helped clubs, not necessarily the results you've gotten. Because we know that we are in a very unique time, and not everything is going to work out the way we want it to, but it doesn't mean that we are not so incredibly grateful for your work and your effort. We are going to be doing some awards based upon effort, not just results, because it's very hard to measure the emotional tie members get to clubs. That's what we're trying to quantify and qualify a little bit here. Who are the ones that really help build that relationship? Again, the relationship is the big thing. For division awards, again, it's established on the first, no net club lost for division. So if a division started with 36 clubs and you end with 36 clubs, they don't have to be the same 36 clubs. A lot of the same things happen. The timing happens. The gain and loss is determined on June 30th. Clubs are considered paid when they submit an April dues renewal, and paid clubs plus new clubs from May 1st to June 30th counts. Kind of the same thing that areas had, just up a level for division. Division, kind of the same thing. They're distinguished with at least 40% of the club's base. Distinguished clubs at least 45% for select, and 50% plus a net growth of one for presidents. Same thing for recognition. We may not get any divisions that are distinguished this year. That doesn't mean we're not going to recognize their efforts and their work. Those are two different things. What we're doing is making sure that we can help you be successful. That's the goal. We're going to reward you for that. There are success plans out there also. Our district success plan, I am in the process of uploading as soon as we're done here to finish that, so that we can get our district success plan and budget submitted on time for the district level. Just because some of the dates passed doesn't mean that they're not valuable tools. If you have clubs that haven't started a success plan or haven't started moments of truth, I urge you to help them go through those processes. Moments of Truth is a great tool for clubs to be able to get feedback from members and guests on their experience, on what they get from the club, on how they experience the club, on how the club is managed and run, and are they getting what they need from it, and are they moving forward in their processes. I urge you to use those tools to help clubs grow. It is not about finishing the report and just submitting it. I could care less if I see one club success plan, because if I see a bunch of club success plans but nobody uses them, all it was an exercise in administrative duties. It was a waste of time. I would much rather see a club that goes deep and does a success plan and does moments of truth and does the member surveys and really builds relationships. Find those clubs that you can make an impact on and really help them. You're not going to be able to help every club as deeply as what you want. We need you to help the ones that really want the help, and that you can really help move the needle on the culture of how do we ensure that the district as a whole going forward is focused so finitely on the member experience that it carries over from club to club and it snowballs into that's what we are then known for as a whole, the member experience. Because when the members are tied to the clubs, it's no longer a slogan, it's an emotion. and we are emotional creatures. When you build that relationship and that friendship, that connection, that's why people stay. So that is a lot of information for you. I'm sorry it took us a little bit longer than an hour tonight to get through all of that, but I think there was a lot of good stuff. We asked some good questions here. So what else can I answer for you? Anything we talked about, anything we didn't talk about, anything not Toastmasters related you want to talk about, anything at all? The floor is yours to ask any questions you want.
I have a
Linda.
question. Yeah, I listened to the training that was recorded, and there was a question that somebody asked about, is there something in writing? Is there a booklet? Is there a pamphlet? Is there a manual? Some type of guideline for an area director? And I
Yeah.
think that the answer was yes. And how do I get my hands on it?
I will, if you don't have it, I will just send that. I will send the leader handbook out to everybody on the distro list. So Linda, I will send it to Lisa Mullet, and then she'll ask me why she's getting that again. And then I'll remember to send it to you instead. I will send that out to everybody out there. Alberto, anything we can answer for you before you go? You good to go?
I am good to go, Scott. Really appreciate your points today.
Thanks for joining us tonight, man. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Very good. Lou, that was very quick. Thank you for pulling that up so fast and putting it in the chat. So Linda, you
Scott?
can also download it straight from chat where Lou just put it into chat.
I posted a link to the additional area director, area and division director training. There is a drop down on there that has the district leadership handbook on there. So there's some PowerPoint presentations, but it's resources for area and division directors under the division and area director training. There'll be a plus sign, click on it, it'll drop down that list, and it's chock full of links.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I got it. Yep.
All right. So Linda, here's the one other thing that I want you to walk away with tonight. Just because there are resources that are out there for you to be able to use, when you have questions, don't think that you have to just go and find them. It's about relationships. Just like we are focused on the member, I want you to have as positive an experience as possible. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone and be like, hey, I don't get it. What am I supposed to do? How do I do this? That sort of thing. Just reach out. Call me. That's
Okay.
perfectly fine.
I do like to read too.
That's perfectly fine. But if you, once you read it, some of the Toastmaster stuff, once you read it, you were more confused than when you started.
Well, navigating the website and because I was going in there when you were kind of showing it, and when I tried to pull up the members' names, whatever suffix I picked, it's just a blob of information that is not. I need it in a spreadsheet or something.
When
And
you
so,
pull it up,
yeah.
download it.
Well,
Download it to, there's an option there to download to Excel.
There was, it was an export, and that wasn't an option. So I would need help with that.
Okay, so
Later.
if you want to walk through that, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to share a screen and to do that, and so we can walk through that with you. Anything y'all need, please reach out. Texting and calling is actually probably faster right now than email for me. I had a very rough couple of months, and I am still trying to dig myself out professionally and personally and all kinds of stuff from that. Give me a call, give me a text. It's the fastest way to get in touch with me right now. Just being honest with you and real. Spend a year focused on relationships. That is the one thing that if we can build the relationships, member to member, member to club, we will set ourselves up to get out of COVID in a way that is beneficial to everybody involved. And it's okay if we don't hit the numbers that we wanted to hit this year. We don't care about the numbers. I could care less if one member completes one level 5. If every member is connected emotionally to a club by the end of the year, we have succeeded immensely in building the future of our district. That's the number one thing. For some people, that's going to mean that they do a bunch of projects and pathways and it works. That's great. For others, it's going to mean that they mentor a bunch of people and that's great. And for other people, it's going to mean that they go out and teach stuff and that's great. Whatever they need, that emotional connection is what will make Toastmasters relevant for years to come. Adele.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. That takes off a lot of pressure from us, the area directors and division directors, because before all we concentrate about is hitting the DCP and submitting reports and everything. So it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm sorry for that expression. That member is what we concentrate this year and not, achieving the DCP. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. My hope is that for future years, we continue to focus on the member. And if you do the right thing for the member, the other stuff is going to happen. People are going to do projects. You're going to end up with new members in clubs. And when you focus on the behaviors that give you the results come. The results are just a measure of the relationship. So let's focus on the relationship first. Anything else we can answer for you? Everyone, thank you so very much. Not hearing any other questions, I'm going to hit stop record. I thank you so much for everything tonight. Go make some friends. Toast on, everybody. Toast on. Have a wonderful, a fun year. And drop me a note to let me know what it is that you want to get better at. I want to know what you want to do this year so we can make sure that this is a beneficial year for you. So with that, we're going to end this one. I thank you.